Welcome to the Act 2 leg of our Dishonorable Baldur's Gate 3 playthrough. An honor mode playthrough of BG3 where anything goes. Cheese rats? Check. Explosives? Check. Invis potion abuse? Check. All in the name of getting the golden dice. Let's begin. Since we are entering the Shadow-Cursed lands through Grimforge, we immediately run into the patrolling Harpers. And as we assist them in eradicating the attacking shadows, let me give you the quick rundown of our Act 2 plan. We're definitely hitting Last Light first, which have important defensive items for sale, like the Yuan T-Mail and the Cloak of Protection. Then we move to Moonrise for our more offensive needs, like the almighty Risky Ring, the Spell Shudder Amulet from the Mimic, and of course Azir's Piece de Resistance, the Potent Robe. We're gonna do all of that before tackling the rest of Act 2. And thus, with my beginning of video yapping done, we killed all the shadows and the kind Harpers mark the location of Last Light Inn on our map. But before we go there, we make a quick jaunt north and find ourselves a Night Orchid. After doing one of the top 10 most satisfying things in Baldur's Gate 3, we present Shadowheart with said Night Orchid.
Oh, hells. You didn't pick that by hand, did you? They're deadly poisonous. Joking. They're safe. And beautiful. Thank you.
An absolute cutie. And that is our fourth Nightsong point, which is the final point we needed. With this, we triggered a conversation about her being conflicted.
I don't fully know. Just a nagging feeling. Almost like I'm conflicted about something, but I don't quite know what.
And if we go to camp, we will see Shadowheart in a special idle animation. Behold her adorableness as she stands there being pensive. This signals a special unmarked dialogue that'll have her confide in you about her doubts in Shar worship.
I'll admit it. Staying true to Lady Shar has proved difficult at times.
Now that we have all the Nightsong points we needed, I've just now realized I have never explained what a Nightsong point even was. And some people watching the last video are probably super confused. The skinny of it is there's a hidden point system for Shadowheart's companion quest that determines the fate of the Nightsong. You get these points by picking the right dialogue options and doing the correct thing during your journey together, and if you manage to get 4 out of the 6 available in the game, during the Shadowfell confrontation later, Shadowheart will spare the Nightsong without needing your Tav persuading her. There's an entire video by Slim Axe explaining it and an entire bg3.wiki page citing the video if you need a written guideline that I will link on the top right corner right now and in the description. With everything truly out of the way, let's meet the coolest grandma in Faerun.
Hello.
And with Jaheira's approval, we can start our romp through Last Light Inn by shopping! From Tally, we legally steal the Cloak of Protection, Shield of Devotion, Amulet of the Harpers, and the Yuan T Scale Mail, alongside other miscellaneous items. The shield is especially of import because with it, we can gain infinite sorcery points to fuel our quickened Eldritch Blasts. We go inside the inn and say hi to everyone who escaped the ambush before having a toast with Jaheira.
Please, be welcome. Have a drink.
And rigs Raphael's game of Lanceboard in favor of Mole. We give Harper Jonas' sword to Harper Megan.
Yes, I'd like that. I don't know what to say.
and go talk to Isabel, but not before placing Karlach and Asterion in suspiciously strategic spots and casting Sanctuary on Isabel herself. After getting our oh so important blessing of Selûne, oh no, it's an ambush! Who could have predicted this turn of events? Good thing Astarion and Karlach are conveniently positioned in such a way that they are basically next to a winged horror. On a more serious note, the ambush did not go well for Marcus. Before we head on over to infiltrate Moonrise, we first need to infiltrate the bowels of this inn. Through the breakable wall in the basement prison cell, we open the way to a very important piece of gear in this strapped chest, the Coruscation Ring, aka one of Shadowheart's forever rings. I debated on whether we'll take on the mean locks, but for now I have decided against it. What we are gonna do now, however, is the Drider Caravan ambush. We talk to the Harpers gathered on the bridge and follow them to the ambush site. It is a good time to mention, since we're heading to one, that Act 2 has a lot of skippable combat encounters, and guess what? Azir happens to be a charisma based Tav. So for almost every encounter where a skip is possible, we will be attempting them. As we lay in wait to ambush the Drider, we make ourselves known, and it's time for dice to roll. First deception roll, we got a rogue to give us situational advantage, which we needed. After they handed us the lantern, we rolled our second deception check with advantage because we are also a sorcerer, and send them on their merry way. Afterwards, we free Dolly thrice, and now we can travel freely within Act 2. Next on our list of things to do, we ambush the ambushing measles, because behind them are the luminous gloves in a locked chest, which will be Shadowheart's forever gauntlets. Now we make our way to Moonrise proper, but on the way we don't neglect to save Roland from the attacking shadows.
Go on.
Also with Roland, just in case, we want to cast light on him as he is returning to the inn. While it didn't happen this time, sometimes his torch just bugs out and isn't lit. So just before he teleports out, he succumbs to the shadow curse. Okay, now we are going to Moonrise. And we technically did, we activated the teleport waypoint before heading back out and putting the Drider Carnis and their tagalongs out of their misery. And while we're here, we can clear the town square from the hostile shadows and their cursed harpers. And okay, now we're going to Moonrise. First thing to do at Moonrise is to let this baller cutscene rock.
Try again.
And with that, we are going shopping yet again. From Lantarv, we get the Fistbreaker Helm and the Sentinel Shield. From Roa, we'll get the Nevermisser, the Drake Throat Glaive, and a smattering of other goods. From Arach, we'll get the, among other things, Risky Ring for Karlach, which should boost her throw accuracy to somewhere very high. We then catch up with Zarel upstairs before we go snooping around. The only important snoop is maybe the letter from Melodia to Ketheric Thorm, but definitely killing the mimic in Isabel's old room for the Spell Shutter amulet. Now, let's take a detour from doing things in Moonrise for a fun night in town. It's not good to be cooped up indoors all the time. First, we head to the Waning Moon Distillery to meet Brewmaster Tisovald Torm. He is the closest one, has the hardest mix of skill checks to get through if you want to skip his combat, and also the hardest one to kill should we need to fight. So we're going there while we have our full resources and full inspiration points. Thankfully, our fears were unfounded, and while we did deplete a few of our stored inspirations, Tisovald burst like a bubble after drinking too much. Next up is Geringot Torm at the Rightwind Toll House. We stroll up to the toll collector and straight up say that they have no chain of command anymore, and they explode into a pile of gold. The last storm in town is Malice Storm in the House of Healing. After sneaking past reception, we barge into the operating theater where Dr. Torm is holding an educational lecture. We simply asked for a master's demonstration and he ordered his nurses to practice on each other.
When one sees one's teachings so lovingly taken to heart.
And he himself uses body as part of the demonstration. Very convenient. And for completion's sake, we investigate the last building in town, which is the Mason's Guild. We free the building of the shadows haunting the basement. And we can say our excursion in town is complete. Let us report back to Last Light Inn. And while there, we can deal with the Meanlock infestation in the basement. After Last Light has been wholly secured, I think it's time to turn our attention to freeing the prisoners. As we make our way to the prison, I would like to show you a comment I received on the last video, spreading misinformation. This individual has kindly left a comment saying, "Eye floats, your spell is on the ground. Hence no damage to the eye despite it being thunder damage. Please direct your eyes to your screen now." Buddy, this ain't Pokemon. What do you think this is? A type matchup thing? Scrying Eye has levitate so it can't be hit by ground moves? Guess what, bucko? This is Baldur Gate 3! The description of the spell literally says this variant of the spell allows spellcasters to inscribe a ward that explodes and deals thunder damage to enemies when triggered. Explodes implies AoE, and AoE in a 3-dimensional word implies that thing go up. Anyways, it does work, and for legal reasons, this whole rant was a comedic bit. Hello, Editing Justicia here. I just want to reiterate once more and make clear that me crashing out on this individual commenter is done purely in jest and is just a comedic bit, and you should not harass the person. Obviously, I feel like I wasn't clear on that on the scripted part. What happened was I was already in the editing process and I saw the comment and I saw an opportunity to make a funny haha bit. The only takeaway you should have is that Glyph of Warding Thunder does work on the Scrying Eyes. Thank you for listening to my TED Talk. Let's continue the video. After clearing this batch of the guards, I go around killing and assassinating people with hold person. Yes, that does include the warden. We then stack a few boxes to help us jump up and free the prisoners from behind. We sell them to the safety of Last Light Inn and watch touching reunions happen between Bex and Danis, Roland and his siblings, not this one, fuck Wilburn Bongle, and Lacrissa and Alfira before claiming our coveted prize, the potent robe. With so few things to do before the Torm family mausoleum, I think it's high time we head west of town and clear the Githyanki ambush. And this random group of shadows in front of the town morgue. Alright, before we head down to the mausoleum, and by extension the Gauntlet of Shar, we still have two major things to do. The first thing I want to do is cut down on future tedium, and the Storm the Moonrise Tower fight with all the Harpers, the Flaming Fist, and all the cultists just takes a long time, so we're gonna slowly kill the population of Moonrise Towers instead, starting with the front gate. We then make sure the Knoll mind control lady gets her comeuppance.
Snaps.
No. Barnabas. Darling. No!
After that, we move on to the docks and start by pushing everyone that can be pushed. And jumping the last guy. For Moonrise Tower's interior, the plan is to go from top to bottom, so we start with the Necromancer and the ghouls guarding the door to the rooftops alongside the scrying eyes on the top floor. Followed by the two balcony blokes just outside of Zorel's study. And then the lone patrol in the upstairs hallway. We then move on down to the station guards in the stairway. The throne room guards are next on the chopping block. And for the first floor proper, we start at the side room with the ogre. Before moving on to the main entryway hall and massacring everyone present. And with that, we are down to one last thing outstanding before we go down to the gauntlet. And that is the Halcyon portal fight and the whole Taniel quest. Honestly, I was dreading the portal fight, but I do think I have a solid strategy that works. The plan is simple. Have Azir and Shadowheart defend the high ground. Azir's only job is to burst down high HP or high value targets like the Wraiths, and Shadowheart just sits up there on park with Spirit Guardians on and let the enemy funnel in. Lae'zel and Karlach are out on a field mission to take out the only danger to the portal, the Harpers, which are the only ranged enemy in the encounter. We clear off the Shadow Trolls, and now Halcyon tasks us with reuniting Taniel with his other half. His other half being a short waypoint teleport away. We bug Oliver about reuniting with Taniel. He got upset and ran. We followed, combat ensued, and not gonna lie, it was surprisingly dicey for one character. But we managed to calm down Oliver and convince him to reunite with Taniel. And now with that done, it's time to brave the Gauntlet of Shar, with a Raphael cameo on the way there. Oh, and before we go in, we need to kill the Kuo-Toas because they have a good spear for Karlach to use when she gets Eldritch Knight. Okay, now we're going down to the Gauntlet of Shar for real. In the Gauntlet proper, we make quick work of the initial ambush before sending good old Gale to solo Balthazar. Some of you might be confused. Did Justicia secretly in the back level Gale to be an abjuration wizard? No, it's actually much simpler. Once the fight starts, we simply mosey on over, we cast Knock on Balthazar's door, open it, and cast Greater Invisibility on ourselves. Now, we just get to chill and Balthazar will simply lose this fight. The wait took us about 20 real human minutes. And now, the party can swoop in and clear the remaining Justiciars. We then ambush Yurgir and his band of Maragons and lay claim to the only Umbral gem we need. Next is to the library for the Spear of Night before we can go down via the elevator and once again knock on the door. It's time for the Shadowfell. We make our pilgrimage down to the bottom where the imprisoned Nightsong is held, and we let fate take the wheel, baby! Let's go Nightsong points!
What do you think? What should I do?
We then free Nightsong, aka Dame Aelin, watch her streak across the Shadowlands before we ourselves skedaddle out of the Shadowfell. Once outside, we profess our adoration towards God's favorite princess.
It wasn't too long ago that I could never imagine smiling again. Shows what I know.
And now it's time for the final battle. We port to Moonrise and the Harpers are still standing outside. That's weird. Justicia, I thought you cleared Moonrise. Well, kind viewer that I've made up, if you observe the montage of me calling Moonrise, you might notice a rather glaring omission. Yeah, it's just Zarel. I think Zarel being alone here is kind of funny. Like, even the gnolls are on our side. Get dumpstered, idiot. On the rooftop, we successfully get Ketheric to stand down before triggering the fight. The fight itself isn't complicated. Thankfully, Karlach's high hit chance and Enraged Throw making the target prone is a positive feedback loop with the rest of the party, making the others have higher hit chance because Ketheric is prone, which is very useful because Ketheric has high AC. Once his HP is low enough, he kidnaps Aelin again, we clean up the stragglers, and we proceed to jump down a large hole. Not really interested in the colony itself, the only thing we do is free Mizora before heading down to the elevator to confront the Chosen of Myrkul. Before triggering the fight, we have Karlach drink an Invis potion and waltz on over to Dame Aelin, while the rest of the party confronts and talks Ketheric down. Skipping phase 1. I made a pretty grave misplay here. Get it? Grave. I let Karlach's Invis potion run out, she gets dragged into initiative order, and then she gets pulled off of Aelin's platform by Myrkul's suck attack. Whoops. With Misty Step shenanigans, however, we managed to get Karlach to free Aelin. And now it's time to reveal my master plan. For the whole act, every time I rest, every single level up, every single respec, I have been parked next to Tally buying explosives, and with 2 3/4 stack available to us, we plop them down by the big skelly man and have Azir do the honors. Voila, our first Netherstone. And with this, we are pretty much done with Act 2. Aelin, Isabel, and Jaheira join our camp. Aelin shows Shadowheart the truth. She then dyed her hair white, and we are now ready to tackle Baldur's Gate. Honestly, less dicey than Act 1, but I will admit my routing is way more RNG dependent than it needed to be. I honestly stopped thinking at some parts and played it like it was balance or tactician difficulty. But being fair to me, I was playing to my odds because Azir is again a charisma based Tav by a do agree if you point out that there could have been more combat encounters if my rolls went poorly. That all being said, it is time for Act 3. If you have watched to this point, do not forget to like and subscribe if you enjoyed this video, and I will see you with Act 3.